Good afternoon and welcome to Adbn TV News at 2. We bring you the latest developments from Nigeria, Africa and around the world. And I am Cynthia Okosa. Now the details. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives are debating a motion urging the federal government to summon South Africa's High Commissioner and demand justice over the recent killing of 2 Nigerians amid renewed xenophobic attacks. The motion, sponsored by Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, describes the attacks and alleged persecution of Nigerians in South Africa as a matter of urgent public importance. Leading the debate, Gagdi says the reported killing of 2 Nigerians, including one who allegedly died in police custody, highlights the need for urgent action. He is calling on the federal government to demand an independent investigation, strengthen consular support for Nigerians in South Africa, engage international organizations, and review aspects of bilateral relations if the attacks continue. Contributing to the debate, Honorable Billy Osawaru commended the federal government for evacuating hundreds of Nigerians from South Africa, but said stronger diplomatic measures are needed to end the attacks. Honorable Prince Kayode Moshood Akiolu also urged sustained engagement with South African authorities, recalling Nigeria's support for the country's anti-apartheid struggle. Honorable J.C. Okezie Okejoto called for the use of international legal mechanisms and closer collaboration with other African countries to ensure justice for victims. Debate on the motion is continuing, with lawmakers expected to vote on the proposed resolutions after further contributions. In human trafficking, House of Representatives is advocating a coordinated framework to strengthen the rehabilitation and reintegration of trafficking victims returning from Mali and other West African countries. Committee Chairperson Honorable Tolulokpe Akonde Sadikbe said survivors need healthcare, counseling, skills training, and economic support, pledging legislative backing to strengthen anti-trafficking efforts.
Representatives remain steadfast in its commitment to providing the legislative policy and oversight framework necessary to strengthen humanitarian response systems, enhance institutional coordination, improve accountability, and ensure adequate budgetary support for agencies charged with protecting vulnerable Nigerians.
Meanwhile, stakeholders called for stronger anti-trafficking measures, improved repatriation processes, and increased funding to enhance victim rescue, investigation of traffickers, and the rehabilitation of survivors.
Poor documentation of Nigerian migrants. For several years, receipts were reportedly not issued for identification card. Payments collected from Nigerians in Mali, fees ranging from 10,000 and 15,000 CFA, were collected from individuals, yet many of the identification cards were reportedly rejected at border points.
Stakeholders agreed on the need for stronger collaboration to improve the protection and reintegration of trafficking survivors.
The agency solicits for provision of adequate funding to perform its mandate more effectively. Such funds will enhance interagency collaboration, improve victim protection services, reduce vulnerability to trafficking, and promote sustainable integration of survivors into the society, thereby contributing to Nigeria's commitment to combating human trafficking and protecting human dignity.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to equitable infrastructure development across the country, assuring that no state will be left behind in the delivery of road and bridge projects under the Renewed Hope agenda. The assurance came as the Minister of Works, David Umahi, met with Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji in Abuja to review ongoing and proposed federal road projects in the state. Umahi said all contracts would be executed in line with engineering standards and the Public Procurement Act. Governor Yebanji commended President Bola Tinubu and the minister for approving the reconstruction of the Adoyin-Aramoko Road and the construction of the Adoyin-Ikole Road, describing the projects as vital to improving transportation and boosting economic activities in Ekiti State. Both the federal and Ekiti State governments reaffirmed their commitment to sustained collaboration to ensure the timely delivery of critical infrastructure projects for the benefits of residents. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has pledged the National Assembly's support for the City Boy movement, describing it as a platform mobilizing young Nigerians to promote democracy and President Bola Tinubu's policies. He commended the group's nationwide sensitization campaign, saying it is boosting public awareness of government policies while criticizing opposition parties for being inactive.
Your commitment, your patriotism, I must say, well recognized by all politicians in Nigeria. The City Boys movement happens to be the kind of movement that it's like a wind blowing across the nation. You may not see it, but you will feel it.
Senator Akpabio urged the group to remain focused and law-abiding, commending members for contributing to national development. He expressed confidence that President Tinubu's economic reforms would curb illegal exploitation of mineral resources while creating more opportunities for young people.
You are going around the country, you are mobilizing, you are sensitizing the populace, the voters and all, educating them. Other political parties are sleeping. They are not doing the same. But when the victory of President Bola Tinubu will be announced, you hear people saying, oh, it is rigging. They did this, they did that.
Akpabio assured the City Boy movement of the National Assembly's support. Earlier, the group's Director General, Francis Shoga, said the movement is promoting greater public understanding of President Tinubu's policies and appealed for the Senate's backing. Also speaking, Senator Sukwo Ekpeyong, who is a member of the movement, said one of its major objectives is to mobilize 10 million votes for President Tinubu while expanding grassroots support for the administration across the country.
This is a movement that is unstoppable and is geared towards the re-election of President Bola Tinubu. It was founded by our patron, Barrister Tinubu, and they're doing a lot of work that we've done over the last couple of months. Some months ago in the Southeast, Igbo State to be specific, where we did the Southeast Zonal Stop. Where we did the Southeast Zonal Stop. In April, we had the Zonal Stop for the South-South, which are very aware of in Benin City. And across the next couple of weeks, there are going to be some other stops across the world. So this is a movement that is determined to rally 10 million votes for President.
It's another day of project commissioning in the Federal Capital Territory as the administration continues to showcase key infrastructure projects aimed at improving transportation and connectivity across Abuja. Our correspondent, Naomi Oleribe, is at the venue and now joins us with details of today's event and the latest development. Naomi, can you tell us about the project being commissioned today and why it is considered significant to the FCT's development agenda?
So we're standing just behind the the newly remodeled City Gate for today's live commissioning, where the First Lady will be the special guest of honor to commission today's event. The event is scheduled to hold between 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. or up towards 7 or 8. The minister earlier in his media chat said this City Gate is very important because while you're entering the Federal Capital Territory, it's the first site that you see. It fully represents the beauty of Abuja, and in that situation, it should be up to date, well structured, and good looking. So just behind me, you can see the minister, Barrister Nyesom Wike's entourage is at the site this minute to inspect the event and the things on ground to know what to expect. But like I said earlier, the event will fully commence 6 p.m., 6:30. He earlier said this was the brainchild of the First Lady, emphasizing and telling the minister that it was important to change the look of the City Gate because it represents the beauty. A beautiful City Gate signifies a beautiful Federal Capital Territory.
As part of an ongoing working visit to key ministries, departments and agencies, the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Bisoye Kokau-Dusote, visited the Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement, Dr. Adebowale A. Adedokun, in Abuja. The meeting focused on exploring strategic collaboration between the two institutions, particularly on the integration of NIMSI's robust digital identity system in enhancing the credibility of procurement records, verifying vendors' authenticity, and boosting accountability in the procurement ecosystem. The federal government
partnership aims to integrate NIMSI's digital identity infrastructure directly into public procurement processes. Both agencies proposed the signing of an MOU to facilitate the embedding of a robust digital identity system that would boost the credibility of procurement records and strengthen vendor verification. Speaking on the proposed partnership, Engineer Bisoye Kokau-Dusote lauded the National Assembly's role in passing the landmark legislation, which provides a stronger legal framework to secure identity management and seamless interagency collaboration.
We are a testament to the transformation that you have been doing in this office. And, I think that the president definitely knows how to put the right people on the right jobs. So on this note, I want to say well done. Your area is a difficult area, but is a necessity for Nigeria and Nigerians.
In his remark, Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement, Dr. Adebowale Adedokun, noted that the partnership would drive transparency and reduce fraud within public procurement's ecosystem.
I need to acknowledge the recently signed into law the new version of NIMSI's Act. I think it's something that is revolutionary that we need to acknowledge under your able leadership. The last thing in my welcome, because I will respond to why you are here, is to admire your tenacity as a person.
In his presentation, Dr. Alvan Ikoku, Director of Strategy and Programs, NIMSI, buttressed the significance of the new NIMSI Act in enhancing administrative autonomy and financial self-sustainability for institutions.
The Act establishes legal basis for digital public infrastructure, DPI and PKI. Nigeria has made attempts, let me even say disparate attempts at DPI, but the Act places it squarely and foundationally on the NIMSI to drive.
The DG and her team then proceeded to visit the NRS chairman, Dr. Zach Adedeji, where discussions centered on the use of NIN for land, tax and credit transactions so as to aid anti-money laundering and tax compliance and increase government's revenue generation drive. From the nation's capital, Bito Brian, Adbn News.
The federal government has stepped up efforts to achieve universal digital identity enrollment, describing a comprehensive national identity system as a critical tool for strengthening national security, improving economic planning, and expanding access to government services. At a strategic meeting in Abuja, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, in a collaboration with the National Identity Management Commission, reaffirmed their commitments to ensuring that every Nigerian is captured in the National Identity Database. Our information correspondent, Erima Okpo, reports.
As Nigeria accelerates its digital transformation, the federal government says a credible national identity system is no longer optional, but essential for national development, security, and economic growth. Receiving the management of the National Identity Management Commission in Abuja, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said, "Identity data remains the foundation for effective governance, targeted grassroots sensitization, social interventions, financial inclusion, and evidence-based national planning."
The National Orientation Agency is present every local government in this country. And I'm happy the last point you made, that you're going to work hand in hand with the National Orientation Agency to take the issue of national identity management to the grassroots, because that's where it is needed most. And Mr. President is quite right when he said you have to go back to the grassroots. But we still have about 100 million Nigerians left. And I'm sure that the 100 million Nigerians are also Nigerians, and they ought to be captured.
Responding, the Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Bisola Koka, stated that the newly enacted NIMC Act 2026 enhances data privacy, cybersecurity, and digital identity management, noting that the Commission has initiated a nationwide word-by-word enrollment exercise across all 8,809 political words to expand identity coverage, combat identity frauds, and support Nigeria's digital economy.
Regarding the card, what the law from 2007 spoke about was they called it the General Multipurpose Card, okay, GMPC card, which is just like a basic physical card. But what we're doing is ensuring that we establish it as the EID card, which is basically ID card plus payments. But we have also created alternatives, so you can, you have your physical, your digital ID card on your NINOF. You also have your EID card, which is physical, which can be tied to government interventions. So
the nationwide enrollment drive is expected to strengthen national security, improve access to government services, deepen financial inclusion, and support Nigeria's transitions to a more secure, inclusive, and digitally driven economy. From the Federal Capital Territory, Erima Okpo, Adbn News.
You're watching Adbn News. We'll be right back with more stories. Stay with us.
Every second, a story breaks.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has formally presented the 2026 appropriation bill to the National Assembly.
The nation reacts. The world shifts. History moves in real time. Before the noise, before the opinions. One screen keeps you connected. From the headlines shaking the nation to the stories everyone talks about tomorrow. Stream anytime, anywhere. When the story matters, you know where to turn. Adbn. A part of you.
The Nigerian Army has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening civil-military relations to enhance security and sustain peace in Gewa local government area and across Kaduna State. The assurance came during a security stakeholders engagement organized by the headquarters 1 Division Nigerian Army. Representing the General Officer commanding 1 Division, Major General Abubakar Wase, the Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Timothy Okpurum, said lasting peace depends on collaboration, mutual trust, and timely intelligence sharing between security agencies and local communities. Stakeholders identified intelligence sharing, community participation, and coordinated security operations as key to lasting peace. They also pledged continued support for the military by providing credible information to strengthen ongoing operations. The FCT Police Command has announced the arrest of a kidnapped suspect who allegedly demanded the sum of 20 million naira to enable him free his victim. Parading the suspect in Abuja, the FCT Police Command, Prof. Ahmed Sanusi, says the command, in ensuring that crime does not thrive within the Federal Capital Territory, raided some black spots and arrested some suspected criminals. He explained that the arrest of the suspect is based on his deployment of a section of the command's Violent Crime Response Unit's tracking team on the 29th of June, 2026, following a distress call reporting the suspected kidnapping of a young lady in Maitama area of the FCT.
This race will continue. We will continue to change our time so that they will not be able to time us to know when we are coming, or to be able to draw an average of our estimated time of coming out for raid. That will defeat us. We will not allow them to defeat us. We will continue to go until we are able to dislodge them. I wish to state that the FCT Police Command will not rest on its oars until these criminal elements are flushed out of the Federal Capital Territory. I therefore enjoin members of the public to continue to partner with the police by providing timely information that will assist in anti-crime operations aimed at safeguarding the lives and properties of residents of the FCT.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling drug abuse. At the National Drug Use Summit in Abuja, SGF George Akume, represented by Dr. Adamu Ibrahim Kana, said the Tinubu administration is committed to protecting Nigerians, especially youths, from substance abuse.
Illicit drug use and trafficking, a call to national action, unquote. This could not come at a more better time. And of course, this is urgent. It is a clarion call to every Nigerian, in government and out of government, to recognize that the fight against illicit drugs is not the burden of one agency, not the burden of one ministry, not the burden indeed of one sector alone. It is a national responsibility that calls for a national response.
NDLEA Chairman Brigadier General Buba Mawa, retired, said tackling drug abuse requires a whole-of-government approach, revealing the agency made over 29,000 arrests, seized more than 5 million kilograms of illicit drugs, and rehabilitated over 13,000 users in the last 18 months.
The drug situation in our country remains a matter of grave concern. Available evidence indicates that millions of Nigerians, particularly our young people, continue to use psychoactive substances. On the supply reduction front, the agency has recorded significant successes in drug seizures, arrests, convictions, and the dismantling of trafficking networks. Our operational feats for the last 18 months alone speak to this. A total of 29,262 arrests were made, leading to the seizure of 5.3 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs, valued at over 1.5 trillion naira, and the conviction of 5,225 offenders in 18 months.
The Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pate, and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime urged stakeholders to take practical action to reduce drug abuse and strengthen prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation.
Abuse in Nigeria is complex. Data from the 2018 UNODC survey showed 14.4% of Nigerians
age 50 to 64 had used a drug in the past. That is 1 in 70 people. Cannabis remains the most prevalent, but we are now seeing increased misuse of prescription, of opioids like tramadol and codeine, plus new psychoactive substances.
This summit, therefore, is more than convenient. It's a moment to align. It's a moment to reaffirm our shared commitment to the National Drug Control Master Plan and to translate this commitment to a practical, measurable action.
The summit brought together government agencies, security organizations, and other stakeholders to strengthen Nigeria's coordinated response to drug abuse. Traditional rulers and local government councillors in Akwa Ibom State have been urged to support the development initiatives of their council chairman to enhance the welfare of residents across their communities. Chairman of the House Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Mfong Idong, made the call during an inspection of projects executed by the chairman of Ona, Okobo, Nsit Atai, and Uran local government areas. Adbn correspondent David Isong files in this report.
Members of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly resumed their oversight tour to council areas with a focus on council reforms and development initiatives.
We've given you additional 2 months, call it December.
In Ona local government area, Honorable Kufre Omorin showcased the construction of a smart, multifaceted council headquarters, a 1,500 capacity event hall, and key health sector reforms.
This local government will be one of the best in Akwa Ibom State. I can assure you that, because we've just awarded an internal road construction. We have just awarded that. If you come here by Monday next week, work would have been going on.
Chairman of Okobo local government area, Honorable George Henshaw, showcased projects executed by his administration, including a computer-based training center, market stores, mini stadium, and others.
For us to look at where we can also do a mini stadium for the people of Okobo local government. The last place that we used to gather was in a primary school, that His Excellency have directed that we should do a model primary school. And with that template, there's no way we can always go there to have an event.
The oversight team's next stop was Nsadatai local government area, where projects inspected included a newly constructed administrative block, as well as grading of internal roads.
And we have the offices around there. Where we are managing now, I refuse to do anything until we finish here, because I'm going to have a very wonderful office, which you're going to have a look at it. For me, I'm happy not because I've done this, but I have recovered the land.
Final stop was Uran local government area, where the chairman, Honorable Inyobong Ikbenyong, highlighted projects such as the construction of a 1.5-kilometer access road, installation of solar-powered street lights, and others.
Access road to the council included the internal roads. Of course, you've seen work is ongoing, just like they have laid MC1 there. We are going to equally lay MC1 along the internal roads without channeling the flood of the water within the council of, then you're not doing anything.
In his remarks, Honorable Mfonidong commended the council executives for utilizing allocated funds to execute projects aimed at improving the living standard of residents.
We will even go further to inform the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. You sent his own representative so that when we are sending this brochure, everybody will see. Senior citizens of this estate will send this booklet to. Because it's one thing getting this money. Another thing is for you to use this money effectively.
David Isong, Adbn News.
Stay with us. Business, foreign, entertainment and sports news are coming up next after this short break.
Numerous cases of people falling asleep have been reported across the African continent. No one can explain this phenomenon.
He's getting close. With 24/7 FIFA World Cup coverage, sleep can wait. Everything can wait. Get DSTV plus 1 month subscription now for only 15,000 naira.
The first panel session at the NOG Energy Week 2026 focused on advancing Africa's hydrogen economy as a trusted pathway for energy transition, with experts examining the policies, investments, and partnerships needed to unlock the continent's hydrogen potential. Speaking during the session, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Dr. Mustapha Abdullahi, described energy as the foundation of economic growth and national development. He stressed that Nigeria's transition to cleaner energy sources must remain pragmatic, inclusive, and driven by the country's abundant natural resources.
I believe hydrogen now is a present reality. It's competition already. Countries like Namibia, Morocco, Egypt are already attracting millions of investment in hydrogen. And you also said why not Nigeria? So Nigeria is not so far from that. Presently, what we are is we're in the midst of drafting the national hydrogen policy. The first the policy document that really speaks of that promotes hydrogen adoption and innovation. The National Energy Master Plan and National Energy Policy, which was approved by Mr. President in 2023. And that document speaks on how we could include hydrogen in our energy mix.
The session ended with a call for stronger policy implementation, strategic investment, international collaboration, and the development of hydrogen infrastructure to position Nigeria and Africa for a successful energy transition. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, says it will begin sanctioning companies that fail to disclose the required information on their business letters from August 1st, 2026. The Commission says the enforcement is in line with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and is aimed at improving transparency and accountability in corporate operations. Under the law, every registered company must display its registered name, registration number, registered office address, as well as the full names of all directors on business letters and other official documents. Companies with foreign directors are also required to indicate the nationality of each non-Nigerian director. The requirement applies to documents such as invoices, quotations, and other official correspondence. The CAC is urging companies to review and update their letterheads and business documents before the enforcement date to avoid regulatory sanctions. The Commission says the move is designed to strengthen corporate governance, enhance public confidence, and ensure full compliance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Up to $1 billion to accelerate the growth of Africa's film and audiovisual industry through the Pan-African Film Fund. The initiative, launched under the bank's Creative African Nexus, or CANEX program, is aimed at expanding investment in film production, television, digital content, and global distribution. Afreximbank's investment arm, the Fund for Export Development in Africa, has appointed One Street Studios as co-general partner of the fund. The financing will support film production, production studios, post-production facilities, streaming platforms, and distribution networks, with a focus on helping African continent reach international audiences and addressing the industry's long-standing funding challenges. Afreximbank says the initiative will position Africa's creative sector as a major driver of economic growth, job creation, and export earnings. The bank adds that the fund will help African creators tell their stories on a global scale while strengthening the continent's cultural influence and attracting greater private sector investment into the creative economy. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned that rising prices of food and other essential goods could push more Nigerians into poverty and worsen food insecurity despite signs of improved macroeconomic stability. In its July 2026 World Economic Outlook update, the IMF maintained Nigeria's economic growth forecast at 4.1% for 2026 and 4.3% for 2027, attributing the outlook to improved macroeconomic conditions and favorable terms of trade. However, the fund cautioned that the increasing cost of essential commodities continues to place significant pressure on households. It urged governments to restore price stability, strengthen economic reforms, rebuild fiscal buffers, and protect vulnerable citizens from the impact of rising living costs. The IMF also projected global economic growth at 3.0% in 2026, citing the effects of the Middle East conflict, rising inflation, and continued global economic uncertainty. Now onto the foreign scene. Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner has suspended his campaign for Maine's crucial U.S. Senate race following a sexual assault allegation published by Politico. Plattner, a former Marine and Ostrom who rose from political obscurity to win the Democratic primary, denies the allegation, but said he was ending his campaign because party leaders had withdrawn the support and resources needed to continue. Plattner's exit comes just weeks after he defeated the Democratic establishment's preferred candidate, Governor Janet Mills, in the primary. He had built a strong grassroots movement and was widely seen as the party's best chance of unseating long-serving Republican Senator Susan Collins in a race considered vital to Democrats' hopes of regaining control of the U.S. Senate. The allegation prompted senior Democrats, including Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, to withdraw their endorsements, while the National Party also pulled its financial support. Plattner insisted he would only formally withdraw after receiving assurances that his replacement would be chosen through an open and democratic process. The main Democratic Party is now racing to select a new nominee before the July 27 deadline. The sudden change has exposed divisions between the party's progressive and moderate wings and raised concerns that the loss of Plattner's energetic grassroots support could weaken Democratic chances in one of the most important Senate contests ahead of the November midterm elections. Now into entertainment. More than 7 years after his death, the children of late American rapper Nipsey Hussle have officially received their inheritance following the completion of the legal process surrounding his estate. Nipsey Hussle court approval has finalized the distribution of Nipsey Hussle's estate, allowing his daughter Imani Ashgedum and son Cross Ashgedum to receive equal shares of his assets. The estate, valued at about $11 million, includes cash, business interests, trademarks, and other assets accumulated during the rapper's career. Nipsey Hussle was fatally shot outside his Marathon clothing store in Los Angeles in 2019. Since then, his estate has been managed by his brother Samuel Black Sam Ashgedum. The court's approvals brings the lengthy probate process to an end, closing one of the final legal matters surrounding the late rapper's estate. An artist in New York has turned trash collected nearby Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding venue into collectible items, with fans paying $25 each to own a piece of the event. The artist collected discarded items from streets surrounding Madison Square Garden, while the celebrity couple hosted their wedding celebration. The items including bottle caps, straws, candy wrappers, and a single airpod were sealed in small plastic display cubes and sold as sculptures. The artist says all 50 items sold out within 24 hours, generating about $1,250 in sales. He said the items were collected from outside the security barriers, not from inside the wedding venue. And in sports, Justin Bieber will bring his swag to the World Cup star-studded Super Bowl-style halftime show, joining fellow headliners Madonna, Shakira, and BTS. Nigerian Afrobeat star Burna Boy, Venezuelan conductor Gustavo Dudamel, and the PS22 Chorus, a choir of elementary school students based in Staten Island, New York, will also perform, with the last one joined by Coldplay. The 11-minute halftime performance, curated by Coldplay Chris Martin, will take place during the final outside New York on July 19th. The show will support the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, which is raising $100 million to help children access education and soccer. Of all the performances, the addition of Burna Boy is particularly noteworthy. He is one half of the year's official song for the World Cup, Day Day, led by Shakira. Nigeria's Golden Eaglets suffered a 4-2 defeat to Australia in their second match at the Four-Nation Invitational Tournament in China on Wednesday. The result condemned the five-time FIFA Under-17 World Cup champions to a second successive defeat in the competition after they lost 3-2 to Tanzania in their opening fixture. Uweja Momere Eboberisha said, have conceded 7 goals while scoring 4 in 2 outings, highlighting areas the coaching crew will be keen to address before their next assignment. Nigeria will round off their campaign at the Invitational Tournament against host China on Saturday, with a counter providing another valuable opportunity for the team of 5 tune its tactics and build cohesion. The Four-Nation Invitational Tournament forms part of the Golden Eaglets preparation for the WAFU B Under-17 Championship scheduled for September. The Mexican Football Federation has announced the appointment of Rafael Marquez as the new head coach of the national football team. Marquez succeeds Javier Aguirre, who stepped down following Mexico's round of 16 defeat to England at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Aguirre had also announced that Marquez would take over with the Mexican Football Federation, making the appointment official on Wednesday. Widely regarded as one of the Mexico's greatest ever footballers, Marquez earned 147 international caps and captained his country at every FIFA World Cup from 2002 to 2018. That's it on the Adbn TV News. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channels 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website at www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. And I am Cynthia Okosa. Have a pleasant afternoon.